Hey friends, welcome to the 5th episode of the Sunday Knitting Society podcast. My name is Chelsea and I am a knitter in Oklahoma City. If you are new here, welcome. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you and welcome back. So I'm recording this on Saturday. I landed in Oklahoma City from Amsterdam at 10:30 on Friday p.m. I did 20 hours of traveling. It feels like afternoon right now, even though it's like 8:30 in the morning. So I'm doing great now, but we'll see how I do as this goes on. I feel like jet lag is going to hit me in the afternoon pretty hard. So I'm just preparing for that, trying to get everything done in the morning so I can just take a couch nap if I need to. But yeah, Amsterdam was great. I went to Amsterdam for work, and then for last week. Is that right? Yeah, last week. And then this whole week Sunday through Saturday. Really Saturdays to Friday, whatever days. Okay, Amsterdam is 7 hours ahead of Oklahoma City. However, while I was there, they did their daylight savings time change. So they fell back. So they became 6 hours from Oklahoma City. And then tomorrow or Sunday when this goes live, we're having fallback. And so we'll go back to 7 hours. And my brain is just like, so much time change. So I'll get through it. It'll be great. But yeah, so I did vacation in Brussels and Amsterdam. I've never been to either city before, and it was wonderful. I had to fly in and out of Amsterdam. So once the conference was over, I actually took a train to Brussels and spent 2 days there, and then came back and spent the rest of my time in Amsterdam. If you ever get a chance in Brussels, there is a food tour called Hungry Mary's Cheese and Beer Tour. And it was the best tour I've ever taken in my life. There was some history, but you get to taste, sorry, not cheese. I keep saying cheese, chocolate, just Belgian, chocolate and beer tour. I was like, I don't remember eating a lot of cheese on this trip. No, so it's a chocolate and beer tour. You don't necessarily eat them together, but you go to 3 of like their favorite or like the top chocolate makers, chocolateries, and you get to taste a few from each place. And the first one we went to is Pierre Marcolini, which I think is a pretty well-known name in Belgium. And I actually went back later and bought a lot actually. I overpacked for this trip, which is very unlike me. I typically underpack and then get there and regret not bringing more. That didn't happen this trip. I went there with a full suitcase and 2 full carry-ons. And I don't know what I was thinking because I bought a lot of stuff. I ended up having to buy, this isn't it, but I had this, still has my airline tag on it. I have this weekender and I had to go buy another one. And then I found out I couldn't check 3 suitcases at the airport. And so I ended up having to lug something that size around the airport. And it made me very cranky. It was also my fault. Anyway, so I bought chocolate. They had an Earl Grey chocolate, which was just absolute heaven. It was so good. I also bought yarn. So I watched the Creabea knitting podcast. I love her. And she had mentioned that she was going to go to Amsterdam and was going to check out some yarn shops. And so I actually sent her a message and asked her what her top shops were. And so the 3 that she gave me were obviously Stephen and Penelope. I'm going to mispronounce this next one. Day Off Stop. And then Hooks and Yarn. And I went to the first 2. Hooks and Yarn I could have gone to, but I'd already bought a decent amount of yarn at that point, and it was like a 15-minute walk completely out of the way. And again, I could have done that, but I just decided not to. So anyway, I missed Rebecca from Grabea by like 2 hours at Stephen and Penelope, and I was kind of irritated. I was like, I could have met her, but oh well. So obviously I'm not wearing any knits today. I'm tired and I didn't feel like changing. I also went and voted this morning and didn't think it through. I thought, because I voted early at our county election board, which is pretty close to where I live, and I was like, I'm warm, I'm fine. Wearing a sweatshirt. It's 37 degrees Fahrenheit outside. It's freezing. Not really, but it's very cold. And you have to stand in line outside. So I was really cold. I kept thinking you'd have been less cold if you'd have worn a wool sweater. But I missed that opportunity. I didn't even wear a hat. I literally had a hat. I had this guy. I should keep that on. My hair looks bad today. I'll make my hair look better. Anyway, so yeah, I didn't wear any knits. I didn't even wear any knit socks. Failure as a knitter. Okay. I don't have any I do have an FO. Well, I don't have it anymore. So I talked last time about making some penny gloves, or mittens. I don't know what you call them. They're fingerless gloves, for one of my coworkers. And I finished those, in the airport lounge. So, I'll try to stick a photo up here, but, I took a picture on my very cool pink backpack. But I already gave them to him, and, so I don't have them anymore, but that's my one FO. Let me pull, so I'd asked you guys for pattern suggestions. Oh, let's just start with this one actually. So the original plan was to take my Monday sweater and finish it over there. And I have mixed feelings about this. It got really cold the last few days I was in Amsterdam, and I brought one knit sweater. I could have brought up here, but it's like buried in my suitcase. Like, I seriously haven't even opened my suitcase yet. I have not had the energy. I'll do it today though. But I did bring a sweater. It was actually I've shown it on here before. It was my no frills sweater, but it was more of the rustic yarn. And that was a godsend. I brought that. I'm so glad I brought a knit sweater because it actually did get fairly cold, and it was nice to have an actual sweater to wear. But other than that, I had a raincoat, and it was a thick raincoat. Like, honestly, it was pretty warm. But it would have been nice to have another sweater. So I opted to leave this one at home because it's just so bulky. Because I would have had to bring like at least 3 more balls to be able to finish it. Plus I was gonna have to bring a blocking Pringle and just more stuff. And I just felt like the amount of space this was taking up in my suitcase was too much. So I decided not to bring it. So I do plan to finish this. I've already started the ribbing on the body, and then I just have sleeves. And it's so soft. I forgot how soft this was actually. This is my first time picking it up since I left. Yeah, I can't wait to finish that. So that guy got left at home, but to dig through the suitcase. There we go. Apparently Siri thought I was talking to her. Okay, so I asked you guys for suggestions for what to take that's smaller. Oh man. Drop stitches. Oh, this is a nightmare. Okay, no, it's not. It's not a nightmare. Okay. Whew. I mean, honestly, I'm gonna rip this out, so I don't think it matters that much anyway. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Ooh. Didn't mean to do. I'm trying to fix the lighting. I feel like a ghost on this thing. So, somebody, I forget who it was, suggested the Musselburg hat. I forgot who designed it. It's very popular. I'll try to put it in my show notes. But so they suggested doing that. So I thought, okay, that's perfect. It's basically, it's a double layer hat that you start at the crown, knit twice as long as you normally would, and then you finish the crown and then you like tuck it in on itself. So it's a 2-layer folded brim hat. And from what I've seen in pictures, like the variations are just endless and it looks really fun. And it's just stockinette, right? The other cool thing about this pattern, which ended up being my downfall, is that you don't have to do a gauge swatch and there's no particular gauge given. You start the crown, and then once you have about 1 inch, you measure your gauge, and that's how you know how many increases to do for your crown, so you know what your final circumference will be, which I think is actually pretty ingenious. The problem is I decided to use Sonder yarn. I kept a tag because I knew I was going to forget. It's the Luna base. It's 100% Blueface Leicester, and it's in the Cathedral colorway. I love this color. I think it's so pretty. So this is a lace weight. I think this is like 700 meters. Where'd it go? 800 meters, so 875 yards. But it is thin. It is like thread. So I actually had 2 skeins of this. So I wound them both and I was holding them double. The crown, so you start at the crown and then you work your way out. The crown is very fiddly. You have to do, I forget, it's like a special cast on that, thankfully I started this in the airport lounge and I had Wi-Fi. Because if I had started this on the plane, I would have gotten nowhere. I would have been making up some kind of weird cast on. So I started this on, let's see, I brought my glasses because I knew I wasn't going to be able to read this. Shoot, what are these? This is a US 4. So I started on a I started on a 5? I don't know. I think what I was thinking was these two together would make a thicker yarn, and they don't. This is fingering weight. So I started on a 5, and it was like way too loose of a fabric. So I actually ripped it all out and went down to a 4. I thought I went down to a 3. So maybe that's part of my problem. And it's not bad, but it is a very, well, you can't really see it. I can see it because the sun is behind me. But it's just a very loose fabric, and it's not really what I wanted. The other problem is that most of my flights, they turn off the lights once the flight starts, and so you're in the dark. And I didn't want to be that jerk that turned on the light while everybody else was sleeping. So I just knit in the dark, and when they turned the lights back on, I realized I had dropped a lot of stitches, or like dropped one thread. And so there are a lot of mistakes in this hat, and I just was not, like, I kept doing it because it was something to do. But what I found was it was actually making me sad because I knew I didn't like it. I knew when I got home I was going to rip it out and do something else with this yarn. I do still want to make this hat. I think it sounds really cool. I just don't want to use this yarn for it. But I did come prepared. So I kind of stopped knitting on this, and I did bring it in my pink hazel bag with the ridiculously awesome tassel. And let me tell you, shoving this into my pink backpack and like the tassel and everything, it felt a little bit like Elle Woods does the airport. It's pretty funny, actually. I realized this. I love pink. Pink's my favorite color, but I intentionally don't wear a lot of pink because I don't want people to think I'm childish or girly, which is ridiculous. But anyway, I don't choose to wear a ton of pink. And then I get to the airport and I realize the luggage tag on my suitcase is pink. The carry-ons I brought were all pink. My knitting needles are pink. My knitting is pink. My knitting bag is pink. And I think I wore pink socks. And on the way home, I was wearing a pink shirt. And I was just like, it's kind of obvious what my favorite color is. It's kind of funny. Oh yeah, and my knitting. My next knitting is pink. So I brought it back up in my the lavender cup, the lemonade shop, but it's not like the lemonade shop, the yarn company. It's a different one. It's on Etsy. I think she's on a break right now, but I decided to make a shift cowl, which I've done before. I've knit 2 of these before. I ended up giving them both away. Just dropping balls of yarn everywhere. I'm trying to like make this not chaos. Oh dear. Run away. Okay, so I made a lot of progress on this because by the time I decided to start knitting on this, I had 2 trains. They were 3 hours long each, and then 20 hours of travel on the way home. And then I also usually in the afternoons would go just chill at my hotel and try to rest a little bit, so I didn't, because I was tired. I did a lot, and I was coming off of a conference, and so that that makes you tired anyway. So this is where I am. This is interesting. I like it, but it is definitely not what I thought I was getting. Let me find the top. So this is the top, if I remember right. Yeah, so this is the side that'll get seamed. So it basically is gonna, like, I still have almost half of it left. Well, less than half. So I used 3 colors. So this is the first one I used. This is what's left of it. This is all spin cycle dyed in the wool. So this is Unicorn, which is the LYS color for Do You Knit. I got 3 of these last year or 2020, and they've just been sitting, waiting to be used. So that was its moment. This was one of my ghost ranches. It's kind of funky here because it's, you know, it's the end. And then the last one is Slow Burn. And this was the LYS colorway for Farmer's Daughter Fibers. There's a theme of spin cycle today. But yeah, so you start with the Unicorn, and then you start working in the Ghost Ranch, and then you switch to the Slow Burn, and you kind of go back. And it's actually a very intuitive pattern, which is nice. The only time I really kind of got, like, I really had to look at my pattern was when you start doing the decreases. I think my count got off somewhere in here, and so I had to kind of fudge it a little bit. But I think I'll probably finish this in another week. The other modification I did is that the other 2 that I knit, I used the recommended needle, which I think was a 5, and they were quite small. Like wearable, but they didn't have a lot of give. And if you look at her in the picture, I mean, it's a lot bigger on her. And so I actually this time went up to a size 6 needle. And I think it did the trick because this is definitely bigger than the other 2 I've done. I was actually really hoping to have this done by the time I filmed, but last night on the second flight, as I was knitting it, I was the jerk that turned the light on, but it wasn't like a nighttime flight, so I didn't feel too bad. But I was falling asleep, and so I was like knitting, and my head would like jerk. I was like, I'm gonna drop a stitch. Let's just stop. So I did. I also have one of my, where'd it go? I don't need this to mark the front. I just liked it, so I kept it on there. So this is another one of my Junk Yarns Barbie stitch markers. Love it. Or Progress Keeper, that's what it is. So it's marking the front, but it's pretty obvious which is the front side and which is the back side. So let me put this back. And I believe that is all for my whips. The rest of this are acquisitions. I don't know what's gotten into me. I just came off Rhinebeck. I knew I was gonna buy some stuff in Amsterdam, but I bought more than I expected. This is like the story of my life. I also bought some stuff before I left that got here while I was gone. So if you don't like acquisitions, totally fine. I will see you in 2 weeks. If you do, buckle up. So, let's see. I think I'm okay to show this. So the first thing I'm going to show you is fiber. It's from my Nest Fiber Club, and it was for October. If you haven't gotten yours yet and you don't want to know, avert your eyes. Okay. So this is October. I like it. It's like moody and dark, but then there's like these pops of light pink in there, and there's green and yellow. It's called Forage, and it is mixed BFL. I actually hadn't read that. I literally opened this all when I got home last night. I wasn't going to. I was going to wait until today to open it, but I couldn't help myself. I got home and I was starving, and I felt so gross. So I was like, the two most important things in my life are food and a shower. And while I was waiting for my oven to heat up to like cook some food, it was a frozen pizza. I was not putting in lots of effort, but I was craving that frozen pizza the whole time home, and it was delightful. It hit the spot. But while I was waiting for my oven to heat up to cook that frozen pizza, I opened up all my goodies. So this is the first one. Honestly, I should probably pause my membership because I'm just racking up quite a collection. I do plan in January to actually, all the fiber, oh, I don't have it with me. It's in my closet. Or in the closet in here. So the fiber that I bought a lot of from Nest, I'm going to actually start spinning that to make a weekender sweater. But I'm going to start that in January. So, and then I'm hopefully going to start like powering through some of my fiber. Okay, so the next one, I forgot I bought this. I remember why I bought this. It was because I saw a hat made out of it and I loved it. But for the life of me, I don't know what that hat pattern was. I hope I saved it on my Instagram, because that's going to be sad if I didn't. But I bought some Malabrigo Rasta, and the colorway is Diana. So this is like super chunky yarn. I actually, this is a bit of a habit. I think this is a different brand. Yeah, this is Dream in Color. But I bought one of these monsters, also to make a hat, and I bought the exact colorway that the hat was made in. So maybe I'll get to that and I'll have some like instant gratification. This one is like a mega hank. How many is this? It's called Milky Spite, which isn't odd. So it's 130 yards of like super bulky. So I think this was actually enough to either make 2 hats or to make a hat and a cowl. I'll have to get on that. So that I bought, that was fun. I also chickened out and I bought another skein of Over Easy from Sonder Yarn. So this is, I already have a sweater's quantity of this, but I think I slightly under purchased. So for my own peace of mind, I went back and bought another one. So not super exciting there. That might be my next cast on though. Once I finish, actually I take that back. My next cast on for me. I have a couple holiday knitting items that for other people that need to get started pronto. So they're both pretty quick too. So we'll see. I would like to have them both done by December because then I can start knitting for me again. Okay, the next one I bought was one of those moments I saw that the yarn was gonna go for, or like the yarn was for sale on Instagram, and I did not think for a second. I was just like, buy it, because I knew it was gonna sell out. It was amazing, and sure enough, it sold out. But I got 3 skeins. of the new LYS colorway. Oh no, from the Mercury. I was like, I can't remember the yarn shop's name. From the Mercury? The Mercury? Oh shoot. I should have kept it. La Mercerie. It's, I'm probably over Frenching it. So this is Pale September. I'm like, oh yeah, it's so pretty. It's like, I can't get over it. I have no idea what I'm going to use this for. I'm probably going to try to use it for color work in a sweater or something. This would have been really pretty for a Alpenglow. This would have made a really pretty Alpenglow. So it's just gonna, for now, it's just gonna sit until it has a perfect use. But very excited about that. And then the last one is probably, this is the last of the stuff I bought before I left, or while I was, actually some of it I bought on my trip. And it just got here before I did. So this one, I am not going to, it arrived in a bunch of plastic bags, which I'm not going to crinkle. So I got one out ahead of time. I am pumped about this. So I got some Manchalope, which is from Wool Dreamers. I don't remember the colorway. Sorry for the crinkling. Let's see if it has it. I'm gonna try really hard not to make loads of crinkles. It comes in like these awesome things. Okay, so this, oh poo, it doesn't tell me. I think it was like medium gray. It's definitely a warm leaning gray. So soft. So this is wool from the sheep that makes the milk that makes Manchego cheese, which is one of my all-time favorite cheeses. So like I had to have some of this in appreciation of the sheep that make my favorite cheese, or one of my favorite cheeses. So this is the other thing I really appreciate about this. I say that I tried to find it yesterday and I was like, I'm gonna end up wrecking this. Oh, okay, I didn't wreck it. Okay, so it comes with 2 strands together, which is really nice because this stuff is so, it's actually, let me pull a piece off and show. It's not as fragile as I thought it would be. It is not, it's unspun yarn. So thankfully, having a little bit of experience with spinning, I think I'll be okay. So this has a fairly long staple length. Well, maybe not. Okay. Yeah. Maybe if I pull hard enough, this will come apart. But like, you gotta pull decently hard to make this come off or break off, which is nice. So I got, I think, what was it? Okay, so this, if you keep it double stranded, it's 251 yards per plate, which is 100 grams. And so that's how I plan to hold it. I should have looked at the name of this pattern. There's been a pattern in my queue for a long time. I will try to stick a picture of it up here and the name as well. But it uses Nutiden yarn, which is very similar to this, but held with a strand of mohair. And like, I know I've said I don't like mohair. I love the look of mohair. And in this, I do think it would be helpful because it's going to add stability to this yarn and some strength. So I am potentially going to buy some mohair to go with this. The problem is that now I'm having to color match in person versus a computer screen, and so that's going to get a little tricky. But I may try to like make it lean one color more, like pick a more pinky undertoned mohair, or maybe pick like a more blue or green undertoned. We'll see. But yeah, I really want to knit that sweater. This is so soft, guys. Like, this is like a pillow. It's so nice. I feel like this should be my thumbnail for the the video. Oh, I swear I can't pick. That is the hardest part of me for editing, is figuring out how to pick a dang thumbnail, because every time I take a picture, it's too big of a file size to use as a thumbnail. And so then they just pick something for me, and sometimes they're good, sometimes they're not. So I struggle with that, but maybe I can just do a screenshot. Okay, so yeah, I got 6 of those, which is probably overkill. Ooh, it's gonna topple. Ooh. Okay, we're good. So that's all the stuff that I bought while in Amsterdam, but not from Amsterdam. So the rest is all in here. Literally a whole suitcase. Okay, so let's start with this one, because I've talked about this and now I've gotten to experience it and I'm excited. I got me some Holst yarn. Super soft. Somebody had asked about the name on it. So there's, if you can read that, Holst, I think they call it garn. I'm assuming that's Dutch for yarn or something for yarn. Heck if I know. Yeah, y'all, I cannot read or speak Dutch to save my life. French, I can do. Sort of. I can read French, okay. And I will say, in the trains in Amsterdam, while on the train, everything is in Dutch and English. Perfectly easy, very straightforward trains. You get off the train, all the signage is in Dutch. And I got off and immediately realized I do not know the Dutch word for exit. So I was just following people, and turns out I've learned it. I can't pronounce it. I'm not going to try because it would probably be offensive how bad it is. I digress. So I bought me some Holst yarn, super soft. Got the poppy colorway. Really like this. I don't know what my brain was thinking. I think it was like, oh, you can make a Sophie scarf. We'll see. It is very rustic to the touch. Now, I've heard from many people that once you wash it, it becomes much softer. So we will see. Maybe I'll make mittens or something. So this is 314 yards. I think it's a 50 gram. So it's a fingering weight, but I'm excited. There are lots of colors. I had a really hard time choosing, but as you'll soon see, I had a color palette. It's ironic because each store had its own color palette. The 2 I went to, I had a very defined color palette in each. So the next one I got, I think, honestly, there's so many pretty things. Stephen and Penelope, it's a small shop, but my goodness, they've got so much there. And they have such beautiful colors. There are actually several yarns I wanted to buy and didn't. And here's the other stupid thing. I bought all this stuff from Stephen and Penelope the Saturday before I went to Brussels, which is, like, I was already overpacked. And then I had to take an extra bag. Actually, I consolidated. I think. No. I took a suitcase and 2 stuffed carry-ons on a train. Which is just a lot to lug through train stations that predated escalators. Yeah, I don't know what I was thinking because I was coming back to Amsterdam, so I don't know why I didn't just go look and then come back and buy, but whatever. So I got some Life in the Long Grass, and this is their singles base. It's 100% superwash merino, and the color is peppercorn. I think it's like 400 yards. Yeah, 400 yards. So I actually saw some really beautiful Isair mohair. I have a problem. I don't love the feel of mohair, but I love the look of it. And so I want to buy it to match all my yarn. And then once I knit the sweater or knit whatever, I don't want to wear it. But this could actually make a really good hat. If I'd gotten 2 of these, I could have made a Musselburg. Shoot. Maybe what I can do is do a 2-sided Musselburg. I hear something in my house. Oh, it's my heater. I have a wonderful dog sitter who I love to death. But when I left, it was still like 70s and delightful. But while she was here, it became quite cold. And before I came to my house that night, she texted me that she turned on my heater and she left my dogs inside with a treat so that they wouldn't be cold. But I'm not used to the sound of my heater, so it freaks me out every time it comes on. But anyway, so yeah, maybe I'll do a 2-color Musselburg, or who knows, maybe I'll use it for something else. But I just thought it was a really pretty kind of pinky raspberry color. Okay, I'm saving the best for last from that store, but we're gonna give the one that breaks from the color palette. So I got some onion yarn, so it's a nettle sock, and I thought this was so clever. So it is 70% wool, 30% nettle fibers, and it's supposed to make like a really good sock yarn. So I actually got 2 to make socks, but I thought it was I like the colors I like. I just thought this was cool, and it's very soft. So I'm a little bit, I'm wondering how it's gonna hold up as socks. But yeah, I just thought this was nifty. And it kind of looks like a little onion. Maybe a flat onion, but it's super, super soft. Okay, so now I'm trying to think how to describe this. I'm very excited about this. This was not what I thought I was going to buy. But I wanted to feel the West Wool yarn, just Stephen West's line of yarn. So they had, I think there's 3 weights now. So there's the tandem, which is DK weight, bicycle is fingering weight, and then glow hair, which is mohair. And I was just drawn to this color, and when I was checking out, the cashier, everyone I met in that store was so lovely and nice. Like, major kudos to them. They were phenomenal and so helpful. But when I was checking out, she said, "This is a nice souvenir of the Netherlands." It's orange. It's orange. Oh gosh, but it's like a pinky orange. I don't know if that's really showing. Maybe it's a little, it leans a little bit more pink than it's showing here. This is very bright, but it is a little bit more pink. I just feel like it's gonna look really good on me. So I got, this is the Beatrix colorway, which I also love the name Beatrix, so that was great. And then I got the glow hair in the same colorway. And so this is DK mohair. I'm making a lento. It's gonna be so bright. So I got a lot of this stuff. This is what, I was literally carrying a bag of this stuff all around Amsterdam. Like on the trains I had, because it barely fit in the bag they gave me, so it's like sticking up out. So yeah, I got a lot of this stuff. I'm very excited. It's so the glow hair is really, like, look at the halo on that. It's so nice. And then this stuff, it's slightly more on the rustic side. Like, it's definitely not like a superwash soft, which is funny to me, actually, listening to people talk about yarn, because some people will complain that superwash has like a crunchy, plasticky feel. I don't get that. I just think superwash yarns are often heavier, whereas woolen spuns, just in their nature, tend to be lighter. But I don't think this is superwash. I say all this, it could be superwash. What are you? No, it's 10% Texel, 90% Falkland Merino. So it is soft. Like, it's already soft now. This is next to Skin Soft, but it has a slightly more rustic feel. Like, this is a sturdy yarn. So it will be interesting to see how it blocks. And then adding the mohair, it's gonna, man, this sweater is gonna be like halo, glowy, ethereal, bright. It's gonna be kind of funny, actually. So that's everything I bought from Stephen and Penelope. Then I had some restraint, and I did not buy more yarn until I got back to Amsterdam. And I stayed at the Hoxton Hotel in Amsterdam, which was probably one of the coolest hotels I've ever stayed at. Just everything from like the decor to the thoughtfulness. Like, they had this really cool thing. They gave you a little paper bag and it had check marks on it. And so and it was for a breakfast, like a little breakfast. So you check 1 person, 2 person, any like dietary restrictions or allergies, and then what time you want it delivered. And then you hang it on a little hook outside your door. And so I had mine delivered at 7 a.m. So at 7 a.m. I go look outside and I have a banana, a granola bar, and a bottle of orange juice. It was like €4, which is pretty cheap for what you get. But they had stuff like that was really cute. I don't know, they were just really nice. They had a good restaurant in the first floor, the ground floor, that was like humming with activity. The only time it was not busy was when I left at 6 a.m. Then it was dead. But so yeah, I waited till I came back, and the off stop, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, was like a 5-minute walk from my hotel, which was dangerous. So I bought a few things there. Let's start with this one. I actually went there twice, I should say. I went there, I bought the first stuff, and then I started panicking that I wouldn't have enough or that I needed more. So I bought more. But the first one I got is, I could get this in the US. I just never have. But I decided to go for it. So this is the Zauberball by Shopperwool. And this thing is just awesome. I don't know. It's soft. I hope it's 100 grams. It feels like, yeah, it's 100 grams. Oh, I didn't notice that. They tell you what it's going to look like. Oh, nifty. Surely that repeats more than once, right? That would make me sad if it didn't, because then well, I guess it wouldn't. You could have mismatched socks and that'd be kind of cool. But yeah, this just looks fun. I'm excited to make socks out of this, actually. And it looks like it's a fingering. How many? Let's see if they have it in English. Because me reading this in Dutch is not gonna work out. It's 420 meters. That part I can read. Yep, it's in Dutch. That's cool. Okay. The next thing I bought, and you will start to see the color theme very quickly from this store. It's so beautiful. I'm gonna make a hat out of this. I'm gonna look like the Cookie Monster, and I don't even care. I actually have, you can kind of see, I've talked about that before. That's the linen quill I bought in a very similar color. But this is Rowan Kid Classic. And I think it's lamb's wool and kid mohair. It's 50 grams. I think it's like 200 meters. Get my old lady glasses. It is 153 yards. Oh dear. That might not be enough to make a hat out of. Might be making mittens out of this. Or I might be buying another ball of this. It's so soft. And like, why did I buy another ball of this? What was I thinking? I know what happened probably is I went into the store without my readers. And then I couldn't tell. I thought it was 200 because I probably misread it. Well, I know I can get this in the States. So I will probably, I guess I could make mittens. I could make a Sophie scarf. That would be kind of fun. Maybe I'll do that. Okay. So let's show this one. There's a funny story with this one too. So this is another one I bought. Also Rowan. This store has a lot of Rowan. That's one thing I'll say. The day off stop is tiny. But they don't have a ton of variety of yarn, but they do have a lot of colors of certain yarns. So they have a lot of Rowan. More Rowan than I've ever seen. but I haven't seen that much rowan, so it's not a great benchmark. But yeah, so they have a lot of rowan, and they have tons of colors, which it makes it even funnier that everything I bought pretty much was in the blue family. So this is the Alpaca Classic. So it's super fine alpaca and cotton, and it is delightfully soft. So I got 2 of these. I was actually going to make an Oslo hat from Petite Knit out of this. This was my backup knitting that I brought with me in my carry-on on the way home in case I finished my shift cowl, because I even like packed the needles I needed and everything. But funny story. So obviously I didn't finish my shift cowl, and I don't know if you've flown on planes a whole lot, but I find the armrests to be very hard, and I start to get like numbness in my hand and elbow pain when I'm sitting there with my elbow up, especially because I'm knitting. I don't like rest my arm a whole lot. I'm just like elbow on the hard surface. And the last flight was like, I'd already been flying pretty much the whole day, so I'd already had my elbow on the rest for a long time that day, and it just hurt. So I literally popped one of these out of my knitting bag and just used it as a cushion, and it was delightful. It was like the best cushion ever. So it saved my elbow. It's kind of funny, but yeah, so this is really nice. And actually it smells like the yarn shop, which is kind of funny. Okay, other funny story about Amsterdam. So a friend and I were talking recently that there's some people that she had heard of that will buy a new perfume for every city, like major city they go to, or every major trip they go on. And so they create a scent memory with that perfume. So every time they put that perfume on, they think of the city or the trip. And I thought I was going to give that a try. So I bought a new perfume. I like the smell of it. It was not expensive. I think it was like 18 bucks. So I'm not breaking the bank on perfume. But anyway, so I thought, oh, I'm going to have a scent memory with Amsterdam. No, there's so much marijuana in Amsterdam that is the scent memory I will have. It's not everywhere. So where my hotel was, there was less of it. But if you go more into like the center of Amsterdam, like by Stephen and Penelope, walking through there, it was just like I honestly would rather smell cigarette smoke. I hate the smell of marijuana. So it's just kind of funny. Like my scent memory got hijacked by marijuana. But yeah, so this yarn doesn't smell like marijuana. It smells lovely. It smells like that yarn shop, which is fun. Okay. Got 2 more left and they go together. So this is one I have been wanting to try for a really long time. I first heard about it on the Knitting Traditions podcast with Inga. She bought cones of this, and I don't know that I can get cones of this. I think I can buy it in the US, but the shipping is pretty bad. And so I was really interested to try it. So I got some JC Rennie, which is a Scottish yarn. And I got their 4-ply, which is a fingering weight in blue, navy blue. They had 6 of these, so I bought all 6. It's a 50-gram ball, and it is 270 yards. So for me, for a fingering weight sweater, I need 1,800 to 2,000. So I think I got 1,600, if I'm doing my math right. 270 times 6. Yeah, like 1,700. So not, just a little shy of a full sweater. And I don't think they had any more. They might have had some in stock, but when I bought this, the lady who worked there, if she spoke English, she didn't. She was so nice. I can't say anything really negative about her. And shame on me for not knowing the language when I travel somewhere. But I wasn't going to try to figure that out. I also was wearing my raincoat and I was boiling because that shop was quite warm, and I had like armloads of yarn standing waiting to check out, and was like sweating under my coat, and I was just ready to be out in the air. But so I bought Oh, I didn't realize it had, oh, it's called Nightshade. I didn't even know it had a color name. That's how little I paid attention. But I got 6 of these. And then the reason I went back to the shop is I was like, okay, so 6 of these by themselves is not really, like, it's enough to make like a crop. Well, I don't do crop sweaters, but like a 3/4 length or maybe even a short sleeve. But that's annoying because we're in winter and I'm not going to be wearing short sleeves. And especially not in a more rustic yarn. And I also thought maybe I could just knit it at a looser gauge, with a bigger needle, make it go longer. But then I had an epiphany. And this may end up not working at all, but I'm going to try it. So one of the patterns I really want to make is the Ysolda Teague by Bloom and Create, I think is who it is. I'll try to stick a photo of it and the name. If I can't figure that out, I'll put it in the show notes. But so this is a really cute knitted pattern. I think she has an option for short sleeves and 3/4 length sleeves. I would probably go ahead and do a full length sleeve on it. But you use 2 different contrasting colors for the little diamonds down it. And so if I was going to go with the JC Rennie, I was going to need 2 balls of each. Just because it would have been just a little bit less than what I needed if I only got 1 ball. So I was trying to think, okay, what colors do I want to get? And then I saw this. Well, let's see, this isn't the best example of it. I got 3 of them. So I think I bought all of them. Oh, it's not the best example, but okay, well, so you can see it. So this is Rowan Felted Tweed Color, and it is a color changing yarn. And I think technically this is a DK, but it's a pretty thin DK. So like these are the same colorway. So if you like part that, you can see it's blue under there. So it's kind of in the vein of a spin cycle. So it's 50 grams. Get the readers. So it's 50% wool, 25% alpaca, 25% viscose. Where is the yardage? 191 yards. So this gave me plenty to do the color work on the sweater, and so I figured it would just be like color changing. I think that's a fingering weight, actually. That's a fingering weight. It's a looser ply than the JC Rennie. So JC Rennie, you can see, let's see, I think I might have actually ripped this in my suitcase, which makes me sad. Oh, can you see that? You can kind of see the twist there. And the twist, I'll see if you can do it. That's not the best. There you can kind of see it. Let me get my head out of the way. They're similar enough that I think they'll work. I think that's it. It's enough. It's more than enough. I think I'm probably gonna not buy any more yarn. I say that. I need to put a pause because I've been buying more than I normally buy. Actually this year from January to June I bought very little yarn. I think I bought like 2 sweater quantities and that was it. And then all the advents. But I might do another pause probably for the next month, just because I've now exceeded what will fit on these shelves, which is, for me, it's insane. I'm like looking over there because I have my dresser. I think I posted, that was like the cover photo for my video last week. Was it? It might have been, I don't know. But that's all yarn that doesn't fit on the shelves. And so now I bought more. And I don't know where it's going. And I have resolutely refused to buy a 3rd shelf to put here. I'm just not doing it. I'm not. But I need to start knitting some of this stuff. And I think I will. I'll make some progress through it. And then once I've kind of gotten it back down to what feels more manageable to me, then I'll start buying yarn again. I'll probably still buy some stuff. But I did get my first Advent in the mail. I ordered the Woolens and Nosh Advent skein. I did them last year. I wonder if I have them. Let me see if I can find it. Yeah, there's one. So I did a DRK everyday sock. So this was the Advent skein for last year. Should probably have gotten one of my sock blockers, but we're just gonna do a hand puppet version of this. But yeah, it was really fun. So I did it toe up. She does a really clever design with it. So she puts a stripe. You can kind of see it here, so you know when to stop. But I did one stripe a day, so there's 24 stripes. I think there was a point where it started to repeat itself. It was like here, yeah. So up here and down here, it's got hair all over it. We need to wash that. So I got that in the mail. I'm not going to show it today because I will start showing that as I do them in December. I'd actually forgotten. I bought a few Advents this year. So I got that one. I did the 12 tied with woolly mammoth, which I'm excited about. That one I think that one is actually designed to start on Christmas Day. So I think I'm gonna do that. I do it that way. I'm hoping that nobody spoils that for me and shows me what the colors are, because that would make me sad. I also got the Ching fiber. I think I got the colorful one, because I think there was like a muted one and a colorful one. I've never knit with Ching fiber, and let me tell you, they had some Ching fiber at Stephen and Penelope, and it took all of my willpower to not buy it. They had one that was melted baby Surrey or something, melted Surrey alpaca, and it was like this glowing peach. Like, it was pale, but it was glowing. And the only reason I didn't buy it is I had absolutely no idea what to make out of it. But it might still be one of my, maybe it'll be my Christmas present to myself, because I need Christmas presents. Anyway, so yeah, so anyways, I got the Ching fiber one, and I think I got the Farmer Daughter fiber. Here's the problem: you buy these things in like May and June, July maybe, and then you completely forget what you bought, and it just shows up in November. It's like, oh goody. I actually really enjoy it. I bought a chocolate advent calendar from Piero Marcolini, which I actually on my personal Instagram, I posted a picture of me carrying this giant bag from Piero Marcolini, and it was like, me, I need to, watch what I buy so I can fit everything in my suitcase on the way home. Also me, I need this chocolate advent calendar. So it's in my suitcase that I haven't opened yet. I should probably open it and get that thing out. But I'm gonna have a fun Advent season of lots of gifts to myself. But anyway, so I'm gonna try to be back in 2 weeks. I think for the month of November, I'm gonna try to do 2 weeks. We will see in December if I can do weekly. If I do weekly, they'll be shorter. So, because I won't obviously have as much to talk about, but I thought I could kind of recap the Advent stuff that I was opening. If you guys want me to do weekly in December, let me know. If you'd rather me do like bi-weekly, every 2 weeks. I'm not doing twice a week. Every 2 weeks in December, then let me know that. And then I'm still considering doing a very informal Betwixtmas knit along. So what I try to do every year for Betwixtmas is, and Betwixtmas, for what, if you guys have never heard of that, I don't know if that's a thing, that's what I call it. It's the week between Christmas and New Year's. It's my favorite time of year. I have taken off the whole week. I get to sit at home, do whatever I want. Watch Christmas movies, watch the Bake Off, watch whatever, knit as much as I can. I do puzzles. I've literally stocked up on puzzles to do during that week. I drink too much. It's great. I eat breakfast for every meal. There are no rules. You do what you want during Betwixtmas. You just don't leave the house. But I always try to start a sweater on, or usually a sweater. But it's whatever I feel. Usually it's a sweater. On Christmas Eve. and then try to finish it by New Year's Day. So if any of you want to partake in that with me, there will be probably no prizes. There's not going to be there's not going to be a Ravelry group. We could maybe do like a hashtag Betwixtmas KAL, Betwixtmas knit along. I don't know. I'll try to, if I think of a hashtag, I'll put it down here. But yeah, if you want to take part in that, let me know. There aren't any rules. Just, I mean, I guess maybe the only rule would be start on Christmas Eve and try to finish by New Year's. But other than that, no rules. No pattern you have to pick. No yarn you have to use. No other rules. It's just fun. It's just friends knitting together. So if you guys are interested in that, let me know. And I think that's it for me. I'm gonna go get my nails done because they are so long I can't even text. I'm like getting typos while texting. It's driving me crazy. And then I'm gonna go do all the stuff I have to do today to get ready for the week. But I hope you guys have a really lovely week. I hope you're starting to get some cool weather. If you're lucky, maybe some snow. Or if you are in the Southern Hemisphere and you are pumped about summer, good for you. I hope you enjoy it. I hope it's a good summer. But yeah, I will see you guys in 2 weeks and take care. Bye.